Hello, everybody. My name is Alex, and this is my application. As you can see, we're in my chatbot CS for this WPF. I'm just gonna explain my application to you a little bit. I'm gonna run it now, and then we're gonna discuss as we go. So, I just want to inform you that my part one and this part two improvements are in the same solution. So this POE program POE part two is actually just like my part one, but it's just that um I did just say new project inside of the same solution. So it's basically this is just basically the part two improvements of this, right? So okay, we're gonna get into it. Let's run the application. So okay, as you can see, this is my application right here. Um, As you see, the application asks the user, just like the console application, to enter the username first. So we're just gonna enter a name like maybe Bobby and say start chat.
Hello, welcome to the Cybersecurity Awareness Bot. I'm here to help you stay safe online.
So that was just our audio file that played. Remember, the audio file in part one is it's exactly the same thing. So the code implementation for that, as you can see, this is our logo, and here it is in our code. And then the sound, yeah, it's just this exactly the same as our part one. The sound is found in a folder named media, and that's what plays at the beginning. So okay, we just heard that plays. Our logo is over here. Let's interact with our chatbot. So since we've already entered the username and everything, we're gonna see how are you. Oh, you see that it remembers our name. It still has our name within the system. So you know how that implementation happened. Like is like I created a private memory object that just keep the memory within the application, right? So the memory actually starts at our welcome window, right? When it asks us to enter our name, that's the welcome window. So the input is kept in there. So this welcome window needs to move that username that it got back. Message box show please enter your name, right? It needs to that username is kept in that name box.txt, right? And that is moved to our main window. So our main window is like here, right here where we are right now. So that name is transferred here and then saved as well, where we have a saved file here in our chatbot CS. So that allows for our chatbot CS and our main window to have the same username functionality. That's exactly what's happening here. So as we interact with this chatbot, right, it always gonna have our username in the user input and its output. So that it's just like to aid the user to know exactly, and it makes the user feel connected to the application, to the chatbot. Okay, so now to this, we're gonna return. We're gonna say um, what is password security, right? So it tells us, returns Bobby. Make sure to use a strong, unique pass for each account. Avoid using personal details in your passwords. You seem to be interested in password security. I'll remember that for you. So now that we've shown an interest in password security, um, the chatbot has recognized that we are interested in chat in password security. So now that it's known that we're interested in, this is the current topic that it recognized that the current topic is password security. So if the user was like, tell me more about password security, right? It'll return it will return of input uh, output based on what we've based on password security, because we're in the topic of passwords, so it returned a value about passwords. So okay, that follow-up code is just that follow-up response right here. This is where we kept it. So like when we asked tell me more, explain more, then it went to a follow-up response based on the topic that we're on. So as you can see, there's a lot of things about topics that we can have right here. So like we can ask it to what is your purpose, right? Bobby, my purpose is to educate you on how to identify and mitigate cyber threats. I'm here to help you stay informed about cybersecurity, best practice, and keep you safe. As you can see, that's just like the types of topics we have here. You can ask it what is my favorite topic. You see, so because we had an in-depth discussion about password security, and then it said it's shown that I was interested in password security. When I asked it, we had a like a whole different conversation. Then I asked it about what is the favorite topic currently. Then it will return the favorite topic currently is password security. As you can see that. Um, Now one, let's say the user is has a certain emotion. Let's say I'm worried about my password safety, right? Right. So what happens here is like, as the user had an emotion right in their text, and then the chatbot recognized that emotion immediately, and he said it's completely understandable to feel that way, Bobby, and then returns after the use it has recognized the user's emotion. It has given feedback as well as a tip on how to mitigate their feeling about the certain thing that they're talking about. So let's say they were worried about their password safety, and then the chatbot recognized that and then gave a tip on password safety, like use strong passwords, don't reuse them, and keep them private. What qualifies as a strong password? Its length, complexity, and uniqueness, which means the longer the better. A mix of uppercase, lowercase, numbers and symbols, as well as a degree of randomness. You seem to be interested in password security. I'll remember that for you. So now we've gone back to this topic is now our current topic. So that's why it returns interested in you. So now we can ask for another tip. No. So now that we've established that the current topic is passwords, it has it can return another response towards that topic about passwords. So as you can see, like we have two outputs for the follow up of password. So now let's say we talk about something else. Like the user says, I'm tired of talking about passwords. Let me talk about something else. Like I've recently heard what are something about scams. So like exactly the user asks what are scams, and it says Bobby, to protect yourself from scams, research the company individual before providing any information. Trust your instincts. If something feels off, you seem interested in scam prevention. So now the chatbot knows that this is our current topic now. This is our current topic. Our current topic is about scams. So um, we're just gonna look through our requirements right here. So as we've seen the UI for the application, right? We've seen the UI for the application. There's the application. The easy UI, the spacing, and there's a scroll bar. The voice recognition. It does recognize keywords like, let's say, privacy, right? Privacy is the ability to control what information about you shared with others. Always be mindful about information you share online, right? So, password scam and privacy, exactly. It does recognize passwords, um, scam, and privacy, right? These keywords are recognized. Random responses. So as you can see, the implementation of this is we have multiple responses for certain topics, right? So let's say like password. If the user asks about password like multiple times, there will be like a certain amount of randomness in which output they'll get about randomness, about passwords. So let's say the user starts saying need a strong password, right? Yeah, this is totally different stuff for what we got at the beginning, right? So there's a certain amount of randomness in our in the output of our chatbots topics. So randomness is there. Let's use the example. Okay, let's use the example. What is phishing? So right, we have in phishing we have two possible replies. Right, here it is. Else if phishing, right? So in the phishing we have two possible results. So phishing is a type of cyber attack where attackers try to trick you into revealing sensitive information. Always be cautious of unsolicited emails or messages for personal details, right? So now it remembers that we're now interested in this topic called phishing. So now let's say the user asks for more information. Tell me more about phishing. Always verify the sender's email address. So that is a follow-up we have for phishing. Let's say more, and then we type in phishing again to see if we'll get like a different result, right? That yeah, see, it's a different result. The first result we got for what we asked phishing is a type of cyber attack. And then now asked about phishing again to protect yourself from phishing. So now we know that it does indeed work. Um, there is a random response. That's where you are, right? Yeah, random response. So in enable the chatbot to maintain conversational flow. Yeah, yeah, we have done that. That's our follow up. Our follow up. If a user's confusion about details, all right, implement a memory feature. The memory feature I already told you about in the beginning. User details that can refer back to like the name and stuff. Just store certain information. And the favorite topics thing we already did talk about that. Okay, let's check about it. Let's check it. Favorite topic. What is my favorite? Exactly. That's the current conversation we're in, fishing. So it did return the favorite topic, fishing. So that is use of memory. So this did get implemented. Um, you seem interested in fishing, and then yeah, you see what is my favorite type of fishing. Allow the chatbot to adjust the response based on you. Okay, so now we have the text sentiments such as worried, curious, or frustrated. Curious about fishing. Curious is a great trade where Bobby fishing is a type of cyber attack where attackers. Yeah, 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 yeah. So yeah, we have fishing, we have worried, and we have curious. Now there we have worried. Completely understandable to feel that way. And then we have frustrated, right? Frustrated at the scam situation. Yep. I understand cybersecurity can be frustrating at times, but learning about it can be very rewarding. Bobby, scams are fraudulent attempts to deceive you into providing personal financial information. Be wary of offers that seem too good to be true. You seem to be interested in scam prevention. I don't know that for you. So that has been implemented. Worried, curious, or frustrated. That has been implemented. Our error handling is basically like that we did have some of that when the chatbot doesn't understand something, like it's not in line with its topic, right? It will basically just return, I'm not sure I understand this, can you try rephrasing, try asking about cybersecurity related topics. That's just basically our error handling and edge cases, right? And you can see we have some use of dictionaries to keep all this in. As you can see, we use some generic dictionaries, so as they are easier to handle and implement. So okay, that's basically our application. I hope you've enjoyed this small video of mine. I hope you've learned more about cybersecurity in between, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. That's my application. Alex out.